Hello and welcome to another episode of the e-commerce coffee break. A lot of merchants have a problem that their delivery arrives at the client, at the customer, and got stolen. So porch piracy is a big issue there. Other issues along the way can happen. So the delivery just disappears. And then a situation appears where there's a lot of finger pointing. The client, the customer is not happy, the merchant is not happy, and so on and so forth. There is some solutions for that, and we want to dive into one solution today to make the life of everyone a little bit better there. So therefore, I have with me Jared Haas. He's the Digital Agile Solution Supervisor of UPS Capital. He has been with UPS Capital for the last over 3 years and has been an instrumental part of the creation of UPS Capital's InsureShield App for Shopify. It's an app designed to help brands improve their conversion rate, brand affinity, and brand loyalty by protecting against shipping mishaps, including porch piracy. Hello, Jared. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Jared, tell me a little bit more about the landscape or what's happening out there in the world right now with shipping and delivery, where things to go downhill, where it does not really work.
Yeah, I mean, you already kind of hit on it a little bit, right? There's a lot of things that can go wrong. And a lot of things we don't like to think about, especially in the e-commerce world, where it's not the brick and mortar, just hand the package over to the customer right there at the counter. You're relying on carriers, and you're relying on carriers to get your goods to your end consumer, and that's part of your customer experience. So certainly porch piracy is something that we've seen a major increase within the United States, especially. I want to say right now, those numbers are somewhere around 210 million packages a year are being stolen right off residents' doorsteps. So that's kind of, I'm not going to say it's new. It's not like it never happened before, but you're seeing an increase in it. And then, of course, just with carriers and with all of the packages that are in their networks, there's going to be some lost packages. There's going to be some damage every now and then, regardless of what service level you're using. And that's all going to be part of your end consumers' experience shopping through your store.
Yeah. Now, obviously, merchants are interested or have often the notion that the shipping company will take care about everything, which is not true. Give me a bit of insight on how it actually works.
Glad you asked that, because what we deal with when we're talking to our merchants a lot, especially on the front end, is we're talking about carrier liability coverage. So that's where a lot of people have a misconceived notion that they have actual insurance through the carrier that they use, whether that's FedEx, UPS, USPS, DHL. Sometimes they even pay extra per $100 worth of coverage that they think is insurance. It's not really the case. It's something that carriers have to offer their merchants or their shippers when they're working through their network. But that's only going to cover a package when the carrier has been being negligent in that loss or damage of the package. I like to get really deep into carrier liability with a lot of people, because so many people call it insurance to me, which I can't say because I am a licensed insurer. But what that does is it can cover the replacement cost of the goods if they are lost and damaged, but only when the shipper, so the merchant that is selling the goods and putting them through the network, is able to prove that the carrier was negligent in that loss or damage, which can be very cumbersome. Those things can take quite a bit of time, weeks, sometimes even months, just to get resolved. And when they do get resolved, if the carrier is paying, which happens around 50% of the time, around all the major carriers, like I said, they're only going to pay for the replacement cost. So not what you sold the goods for, but what it would cost you to replace them. And they're not going to take care of your shipping costs. So it's nothing that ever makes you whole as the merchant. And that could be quite a bit of problem, not just in what you don't receive as far as, making you whole again for what you sold, but also for the time that it takes to file these claims with carriers. I mean, I like to take a step back and just remember that a carrier's customer service is not around paying out claims when they have a loss or damage. Their main customer service is to try to get your package there without any problems. And for the most part, they do that pretty well. But when these types of situations occur, which if you're shipping long enough and you're selling enough through an e-commerce market, you're going to see these problems with your customers.
Yeah, so there are so many different fields where you hurt your business. You might have claims. You might have obviously a very unhappy customer who will give you a bad testimonial, who goes out in the world and puts your name all over the place. So you want to avoid that as much as possible. So I understand UPS came up with a solution to solve this problem. Tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so UPS Capital, which is the division of UPS that I work for, and that's where we're talking about our InsureShield products now. We are the shipping experience and insurance division of UPS. So for over 20 years, we've had insurance solutions for customers for specifically in-transit insurance. Not necessarily like a business owner's policy where we're covering your warehouse, but where we are specifically covering your supply chain. Obviously, UPS has over 100 years of experience within logistics. So, that's where we found our niche. So what we do is we cover the full loss and damage. So what we're talking about is invoice coverage for that loss, not just the replacement cost, as well as porch piracy, which we mentioned earlier here, which will never be covered, under carrier liability, because how could the carrier be at fault for something that they successfully delivered to your house, but then was stolen before you got it? We do cover that. We started covering that in 2020. We saw that uptick was happening. And obviously, more people during the pandemic were purchasing their orders online, so their porch piracy is going to ramp up. But we've offered these solutions in different ways to customize them for your business. But what we're really getting to right now is trying to meet our customers where they are and where they need insurance, where they can plug and play easily, trying to get more into that InsureTech business. And that's where InsureShield, and specifically the InsureShield app for Shopify, started with us.
Okay. Now, Shopify, as you said, Shopify merchants have a million different things on their plate, and obviously their focus should not be on solving insurance problems there. Tell me the best way on how to communicate with your customer or with your to-be customer on what you offer on that side and how it makes their life better and obviously more safe at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So, what we really try to focus on is the education. And one of the things that we always educate any merchant on is that carrier liability, or what you're doing with your carrier right now, is not going to cover you in the eventuality of a loss, damage, or a porch pirate attempt. I think that's important to know because it's just a misconceived notion, especially if you work with a salesperson within your carrier's network. They may have told you to put extra coverage on it. And it's not really them trying to mislead you. I think a lot of times they don't really know the difference between the insurance and what they offer. But also understanding that these situations are going to occur and that you're going to have to find a way to cover yourself. So with that, we really like to explain to our Shopify merchants, which it's great with Shopify because it's already a platform that's set up for customization, right? It's easy customization. That's why a lot of people are drawn to it. You don't have to be a coder. Like you said, these Shopify merchants have a lot of different things on their plate. They wear a lot of different hats. They're working the sales. They may be creating their product. They're taking care of the shipping. They're a shipping manager. And you want to be able to take some things off your plate. So what we offer you is a customizable insurance solution where now, the thing we're James up to talk about now is our consumer model, where we allow you to put our insurance within your checkout cart and allow your end consumer to purchase insurance within their buying journey. But we also allow you to customize your own rules on the back end. So I think it's important. It's an important differentiator for our app in comparison to a lot of the other apps that are available out there for insurance. With the consumer model, that consumer also has the option or the choice to choose not to insure a package. And then what happens, right? So If I, as a consumer, decide I don't want to pay any extra, we know Amazon has already conditioned us that we don't want to pay for shipping, let alone insurance sometimes. So if I don't pay as the end consumer, what happens to that shipment? As the merchant, do I have to then self-insure? And that's what happens a lot of times, or rely on that carrier liability. We allow you to set up your own back-end business rules with the app to ensure based on your own preferences when your consumer decides not to insure. So everybody gets an opportunity to be covered and be the hero in your consumer's journey of that buying experience.
Okay. Now, obviously, you just mentioned Amazon, and Amazon has set the standard on a lot of things there. And for a small, medium enterprise, family business, it's very difficult to get there. So obviously, a solution like yours will help there to cover parts of what Amazon can do, and then having a benefit in the market. Now, I understand this InsureShield has a different features there. So there's a consumer elect insurance feature, and there's a brand elect feature. Tell me a little bit more how that works.
Yeah, so getting back into kind of the differentiator, or kind of what we're doing, what we thought our businesses needed after speaking to a lot of these merchants, is obviously people want to create some awareness that they offer something different than maybe the other 25, 30 Shopify stores, maybe more than that sell very similar to the same products that they do. So what are your differentiators? That's where the apps within Shopify is great, because you can pick from, I think there's over 7,000 apps in that app store that allow you to differentiate your store and give you something other than just maybe a little slightly different theme that makes you stand out. People offer free shipping. We give you the opportunity to offer your customers shipping insurance. So if you choose to insure all of your shipments with UPS Capital and the InsureShield app, we also give you a consumer display where you can show your consumers within checkout cart that you have protected the package on their behalf. If anything goes wrong with that, they're going to be covered for the full invoice value plus the shipping cost, which allows you to refund or replace that item for them. But it gives them that worry-free buying solution right there. With that being said, we also offer you as the merchant to allow your consumer to purchase insurance at that shopping cart level. So we have a toggle button that they can toggle on or toggle off to purchase that insurance. But what's really neat is those back-end business rules that we allow merchants to have. So when that consumer doesn't purchase insurance, let's say if you have it in the checkout cart, you can insure all of your shipments that your consumer doesn't purchase insurance on, or you can do it by order value. So you would set a certain order value that when it meets or goes over that order value, let's just say it's $75. Then you will insure that package. Anything else, then you may decide to self-insure. You could do it by just the products on your store. So we do it by SKU level. So you can pick certain SKUs or products on your store that you want to make sure are always insured, regardless of whether your consumer purchases it. Or you can do it by recipient geography, whether it's a domestic or international shipment. A lot of times merchants get a little bit more fearful when it's an international shipment just because it's crossing more hands, probably going to more hubs. So we want to make sure that those are covered. And they can use these rules in conjunction with one another. So it truly is a customizable experience where they can set it and forget it rather than having to manually insert the order value when they're creating a label. But once again, we go back to time management with these Shopify stores, especially when it's 1, 2, 3-person shops. It's critical. So we want to do the best for our merchant to make it as easy as possible to give them the ability at the end of the day to not have to sit there when a consumer did not elect to purchase insurance coverage and have to make a decision whether or not they're going to take care of that end consumer, because that means they're either going to have to say, well, I'm sorry, you didn't purchase the insurance, therefore we're not going to refund you or replace the item. We all know that that's going to lead to a 1-star review because that's going to be on your customer service, unfortunately, not the carrier. Or you're going to make that customer whole again because you can't afford that 1-star review. And that means that you had to come out of the pocket and take the loss yourself. That shouldn't have to happen. That's why we exist. That's why insurance exists.
Yeah, that sounds like a very flexible solution where everyone wins. Now, you said different carriers, which brings me to the question. Obviously, UPS is a huge carrier, but there's others in the market. So if you're working, let's say, with DHL or so, or FedEx, how would that work with your solution?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you asked that, because sometimes we get pigeonholed as a UPS company that we only insure UPS packages. And that could not be further from the truth. We are a multi-carrier solution. So we know that a lot of our customers, especially the smaller customers that are using Shopify Ship, mostly are using UPS and USPS to ship through Shopify Ship. But we also have FedEx and DHL that are huge players within Shopify merchants, carrier solutions, and we cover those as well. We want to make sure that we are not pigeonholing our customers into who they have to ship with, and we want you to have the best experience possible from the front end of making the sale until it gets into your consumer's hands.
Okay. I personally have been in a situation that things were stolen. I know what kind of pain it is. If somebody wants to try out your app, what kind of homework or what kind of time frame do they have to set before they can get started?
Yeah, so, and that's really important to us as well. And that's another reason why this app has been such a big part of what we're doing here. We know that if some of our store owners, it's a second job. They have a 9 to 5. So it makes it extremely difficult to talk to a salesperson, work with an underwriting team for that policy to be created and then finally signed. With our app, if you go on the Shopify App Store and download our InsureShield app, you can download it within a matter of seconds. You can register for it within a matter of minutes, and you can start insuring the next order that's purchased on your site. As soon as that registration process is done, that means the policy has been met. So
okay, no, sounds great. Perfect. So where can people find out more about the app?
Yeah, so obviously on the Shopify App Store, it's under the InsureShield Shipping Insurance. If you look up Insure, you're going to find it right there real quick on the App Store. And we have a demo store on there. We have all of our FAQs, or you can visit upscapital.com and look under our Shopify solution, where we have FAQs, PDFs, videos on how to install, as well as our customer service line, emails, whatever is the easiest way for you to get in contact with us. If you need a little bit more guidance, we're going to take that journey with you.
Okay. One final question before we come to the end of the coffee break is, like, obviously it's not for free. How much does the app cost for a merchant?
So the app is free. So there's no cost in actually downloading the app, but as far as the premium cost, so what we do at UPS Gab is a price per $100 worth of premium. So when a merchant is using an express carrier, so that's UPS, FedEx, DHL, it's 80 cents per $100 worth of coverage. If you are using USPS, which just based off of our underwriting team and our experience within the networks, has a higher loss ratio. That's going to be 95 cents per 100 to insure. And our consumer checkout cart, so the price that will be presented to your customers within the checkout cart, will be 95 cents per 100.
Okay, yeah, that's very affordable, and I think it's definitely worth to go that route, because it saves you a lot of headache at the end of the day and makes it just a better business. Jared, thanks so much for giving us a bit of an insight there. I will put the links in the show notes, then you're just one click away. And thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
Hey, Klaus here. Before you go, I would like to invite you to become part of the e-commerce merchant pro community to get actionable advice from other Shopify merchants who already have achieved what you are aiming for. Our community is a safe place to actively grow your online retail business with the support of the most amazing and helpful group of e-commerce entrepreneurs behind you. Running a Shopify business is tough. Don't do it alone. Join us now. You will find the link in the show notes. Also, if you think your online store has conversion or marketing issues and you would like to have a fresh set of eyes on your business, then drop me an email at klaus@klauslauter.com and let me know a little bit about your business. It might be beneficial for you to have me look over your store, offers, emails, and ads, and get an unbiased outside perspective and guidance to help you make most of your online business. Thank you as always for tuning in today. I appreciate you. Until next time, and I talk to you soon.